Are Adidas Ultraboost meant for running? Today let's explore the Adidas Ultraboost 21. Hey, what's poppin'? Jordan Thomas here. Hope you and yours are staying safe wherever you are. Today we're going to discuss the Adidas Ultraboost 21. This was a shoe for me last year that I didn't formally review. I included it as a part of my how to build a running shoe rotation video, but it's because I was kind of stuck on how to review it. When I tried to think about it as like a daily trainer, it didn't quite fit the max cushioning, but I think I figured out finally how to review it, and I have that here for you today. So thanks to Road Runner Sports for sending me a pair over for test. And so let's get into some design highlights. One of the things you notice when you take these out of the box, so this is a great looking shoe. Adidas does its thing in terms of making sure that Ultraboost is definitely their premium shoe. It's the dopest looking one. I would say that Adidas makes the best overall looking running shoe in the game. Just one guy's opinion. I like this highlighter yellow that we got going on. I do appreciate the fact that this cage is partially functional, but it also just kind of like holds everything together, gives it some additional structure to the overall shoe. But you came to hear about the boost. One of the things you're getting in this version is 25% more boost, which is considerable because you feel it in the shoe. One of the things that stood out to me in last year's version, and now even more so in this one, is this shoe is heavy. In my 11.5, it's over 12 ounces, which is a lot of weight compared to your typical like 10-ounce daily trainer. Boost is comfortable, but it's also just very dense, and so that's what's adding to that overall weight. Now, one thing that's interesting when you put these in your hand and as you look them up close is that it appears that there's like a lot of boost in the back, and there sort of is, but there is a portion of this that is just running up the side of the shoe, and so your foot is actually sitting somewhat in like a bed. And so you're not actually feeling all of this boost that you see here. As you move towards the forefoot, it becomes fairly minimal. So one of the questions that I had when I thought about what is that going to feel like? Will I notice that what appears to be steep drop off? Now, it offsets 10 millimeters, which is fairly standard for like a daily training type shoe, or just pretty much a lot of the shoes that I tend to like. Now, let's move on to another highlight for this shoe is definitely the outsole. This to me looks like a track. Especially the way they have the pink going on here. This kind of reminds me of the infield, and this kind of goes in this kind of like very like futuristic type of thing. Continental rubber is dope. Once again, this is one of Adidas' overall advantages, and I'm glad that they found a unique implementation of it, not only with the pink, the highlighter color, but there's some cutouts in here, so they're doing their best to minimize it, but once again, this rubber, heavy. Traction is definitely on point though. I had one of the few opportunities here recently to run on a rainy day, and so I was able to really test out the traction not only on wet road, wet concrete, but also a little bit on some wet grass, and the traction was on point. Now, let's talk about the upper. Prime knit is one of my favorite uppers because it feels like a real material. One of the things that I do find interesting about this upper is this kind of like plastic cage. I don't know if I need this, and I think this is another contributor to weight. Like, I would have preferred to see the stripes as a part of the prime knit, and you could actually lose this altogether. Now, I recognize that there's a functional purpose for having this, and that's gonna be what's holding on to the laces. But honestly, because of the way that this upper fits, it almost feels like these laces here are kind of just there. I don't necessarily know that I need it that much. So naturally, we just finished talking about the upper, we've got the midsole, we've got the outsole. Let's talk about how these fit once you put them on your feet. When it comes to sizing, these felt like a just right 11.5. And what I mean by that is that I don't feel like I had too much room I need to go bigger, but I definitely couldn't go smaller. So just keep that in mind when you're sizing. And one thing I will say about the toe box, I thought it was actually pretty generous. I found that the midfoot was snug in the right way, and I thought that the heel collar cup situation was actually like very snug. So that was one of the things that I found interesting because there's also somewhat of a clip going on in the back, and so where I felt like I was snug, I don't feel like I was too restricted, which I think is important. I told you I figured out how I would evaluate this shoe. It's a general shoe that you can run in. I think that when it came to the workout that I chose, that I felt that I could figure out the strengths of this shoe was just an hour run. I got in about 6 miles with some additional strides. Tried it out over a few different paces over that period of time. As I mentioned, the shoe is heavy, and so after about 35 minutes, my quads were heavy as if I had ankle weights on. And so that's something that you want to keep in mind in terms of just like duration in the shoe. I did feel like once I got like onto my forefoot and began to like do some kind of striding out at like under my mile pace, I found that I was able to like pick it up, but it was definitely like I would prefer to have on a much lighter shoe. Because of the density of Ultraboost, I would say that this shoe is probably going to be high levels of durability. But in terms of the ability to like wear this on like back-to-back days, which is what I would tend to think about when I think of like an everyday trainer, this isn't that. This is the shoe that you put on maybe every other day. It's a shoe that you put on probably when you go to the gym. This is a shoe that you pick up because it looks dope, and that's definitely a good reason to pick up a shoe. So in terms of improvements, I would say that one of the biggest things is the weight. Like, I don't understand why Ultraboost is as heavy as it is, but I would love to figure out a way to reduce that while still being able to provide the energy return they're looking to provide. Like, it's hard to get energy return when you don't want to necessarily put on the shoes because they're heavy. I'd say buy these if you enjoy the previous version, you plan on running in a running shoe for less than 500 miles, and ultimately you just want something that looks dope on your feet. And I say skip these if you're looking for this shoe to be a daily trainer or a recovery day type shoe, because there's just not enough going on here that I think can justify the $180 associated with this shoe. If you're running considerably more than 500 miles, once again, like even at this price range, there are a number of shoes that you can buy that are just geared more to that longer mileage. And then the last thing I would say is skip these if you think style doesn't matter, because ultimately, like, that's why you purchase this shoe. Like, this is a great looking shoe, and it's something that is not only is it just a luxury, like it's just one of those things that you just have in the roster just cause. If you may want to flex a little bit or something like that. So how will I be using this in terms of my overall rotation? For me, these are going to be something I put on every now and then. I think at the end of a run, it'd be good to have these on as I'm, making my way to brunch, pick something up. Restaurants are still not as open as I'd like them to be in LA. I think that definitely when it comes to like streetwear, I purchased the all white pair already. Ultimately, I believe that Adidas Ultraboost 21 is a general purpose exercise shoe that you can run in. However, if you're looking to pick these up solely on the basis of running, I think you're going to be left wanting a little something else. But at the end of the day, one of the best reasons to pick up the Ultraboost 21 is because Adidas is for the culture. And if you just want to have a great looking running shoe in your overall collection, rotation, then you're going to be hard pressed to find a better looking shoe across any brand. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for rocking out with me. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a like. It helps other people be able to see it, and it helps me understand whether or not you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And to the 3,500 plus of you that have been rocking out with me, I appreciate you. Let me know in the comments, like, what was the video that made you subscribe to my channel? I'd love to encourage some additional people to begin subscribing to the channel, as I'm coming to you now on a more regular basis, weekly, with lots of running and tech content, and I don't want you to miss anything. I'll see you next time. Jordan Thomas. Peace.